everyone, and here's our instructional video explaining the Unit 2 Master Project, Motivation and Stress in the Workplace. So with this project, I have high expectations. It is the final project of the course outside of the final 30, so we are actually here. It's hard to believe, but really after this project is done, we have just a week left until winter break. And then when we come back in January, as we heard in the instructional video for this week, we're into the final 30. So really put a lot into this project. This project students really enjoy if they do it authentically. And I think that you will enjoy it as well. So without further ado, the motivation behind this project is, in fact, motivation and stress in the workplace, and looking at it with a critical eye, looking at it from your own reflective place, but also you're going to have an opportunity to interview someone in your life who is a mentor or in an environment, a professional work environment, where you will have the opportunity to learn from them. Okay, so the objective is really to look at real life examples of how people handle their own motivation in the workplace, but also how they handle stress, both positive and negative stress, as well as interpersonal conflict within the workplace. Okay, so just looking at the criteria here, this is really the most important part. This project will require you to interview one working professional adult in your own life. So this person has to be someone that you did not interview for the last assignment. So that planning project, you did a sign-up sheet, you filled that information in. This person has to be different from that. This person should also not live in your dwelling, the home that you go home to at the end of the day. You will be choosing somebody different from that environment. So the idea behind this project is that you stretch yourselves, that you have to go and put yourself out there and ask, around, and maybe perhaps think about somebody within your life that you've always wanted to get to know a little bit more, or you are inspired by, but you don't know much about their backstory. And this gives you an opportunity to do that. Okay, so really think hard about this. You do have 2 weeks to complete this project, because it does incorporate that component, and obviously trying to schedule and arrange an interview is a part of that. Okay. Once you know who your interview is, you're going to go back into that sign-up sheet that you did for the third project, the time management planning project, and you're going to go and fill in who you're going to be interviewing for this project. So if you look at this table here, you'll see the chart, and you'll be able to find your name and the person that you interviewed for your last project, and you're going to fill in who you're going to interview for this project. Obviously, that person has to be different, and then you're going to just incorporate and include their contact information, okay, just so that I can contact them for a variety of reasons I'll mention in just a few minutes. Okay, so you're going to do that, and that should be done within the first couple of days of this week, just so that I know, who you're going to be interviewing. Okay. All right. So again, this person should have a professional occupation in which they earn a living. Choose someone that inspires you or that you would like to connect with. Again, a mentor of some kind, a coach, a teacher, someone that's inspired you or that you find interesting, perhaps, or even ideally in a profession that you're interested in learning more about. Okay. And for the interview component, I do strongly recommend that you record it. The reason for that is it just makes for a lot less work for you. Okay. And I'll get to that in just a moment when I show you the interview portion. But a lot of students do choose to record it. They do a Zoom call, a Zoom recording, a screencast recording. Sometimes they even just record it with a camera. I do have students that do voiceovers for those who prefer to not be on camera, or they leave the interviewee off camera and you can just hear the voice of the interviewee in the recording. So it just really depends on your level of comfort. The only person that's going to be watching or listening to this interview is me. So again, it's a very private situation, but I totally understand and respect individual needs for privacy. So just do what's best for you and the interviewee. But I do recommend you do a voiceover or a video because it makes it a lot easier. Okay. All right. So you are going to compile this information for this project in either a written document, a video, or a combination of the two. Okay, so I have actually had a student compile this entire thing over video where they've created a slide deck with all of the components, as well as a voiceover and what have you, or projecting themselves on a screencast. Most students do a combination of written and video. Okay, so I'll explain that as we move forward. Okay. As always with videos, if you do any kind of video, please make sure that you're publishing them to an unlisted YouTube channel or Google Drive and sharing that with me for privacy purposes. Also, it just ensures that I can effectively open the video. So with that being said, your report or video has to include the 5 following components: an introduction, your own reflections, the interview, the conclusion, and the bibliography. The components are outlined here. So in the introduction, you are going to include different theories of motivation. Now, you don't have to go through all of them because we had many in this unit, but different ones that you embed throughout the document. So if you're really drawing on 3 or 4 theories of motivation that are connected and weaved throughout the document based on your own personal reflections, or what comes up in the interview with your interview candidate, then you probably want to talk about those in the introduction because it's a major part of the overall report. Okay, so you're going to introduce those theories of motivation, how we're all motivated differently, and you're going to be differentiating between intrinsic and extrinsic motivation and how you feel about that in your own life. And then also healthy versus unhealthy levels of stress and what you've learned from this unit about how those unhealthy levels of stress can impact the workforce today. Again, this is a great component for incorporating citations. Okay, so by now, the feedback that you've received in this course has been largely make sure you know how to do citations properly, and I do expect that for this project. Okay, then you get into the personal reflection, and this is the fun part because you get to reflect yourself on what motivates you, and then just different things that we've been thinking about throughout the unit. So I'm not going to go through each of these provocations. You're going to obviously can read them yourselves, but do make sure that you're answering all of these questions in your reflective piece. Then we move into the interview portion. Again, I strongly recommend that for this section, you just do a recording because then you don't have to scribe anything. And then it just takes that whole component out and you can just incorporate that video component for this section. You are going to host a professional interview. So you want to introduce the interviewee and their position, what they do for a living. And then you're going to go through these questions. Every single question does need to be asked of your interviewee. Okay, so this is a fairly lengthy interview. All right, and then make sure at the end of the interview that you thank them for their time. Okay, and then how you do that and compile that information, like I said, you have some options. And then the conclusion. From all of what you've done in these first parts, right, the personal reflection, looking at the motivational theories, and then obviously having the interview, you're going to summarize your findings, right? And your findings are going to answer the following questions. How do adults handle challenges of working in the 21st century? What types of stresses do you think play the most significant role in the workplace today? How are the best ways that we can manage our working life with our personal life so that we can find more joy, less stress, and overall live our best lives? And how has COVID-19 impacted the workplace today? How has the workplace changed? And could we be doing anything more? Okay, so some fun in your own reflective practice, also thinking about where you want to see the world of work going in the future. And then, of course, make sure you include your citations. This here is a level 4 exemplar that I've included. Now, I just wanted to note that this level 4 exemplar does include the interview in a written, like the individual who created this document did scribe or transcribe the entire interview. Again, the reason for that as an exemplar is to protect privacy. However, there was nothing wrong with this. Obviously, it was an incredibly strong project, and that's why I included it in here, and it is an option for you. The only reason that I recommend the video is because it really saves a lot of time and effort for you. Okay, also it's just kind of fun. So with that being said, that's your project. It's a big project, as you know, so you've got 2 full weeks in this course now to work on it, but it's one that you really don't want to leave until the end. The exemplar here is fantastic just to see how you can format the project as well. So really how you format this report is entirely up to you. You just want to make sure that you have all of those components. And because we're in a business class, again, like this student, what I loved about it is that they really chunked it. They used their headings. They made it very clear what they were doing and what they were talking about. Their citations were excellent. And you could really see sort of the individual unpacking the individual components. So from a formatting perspective, this project was really well done. Okay, and that is that. So that's our project for the course, for this unit, I should say, our culminating to Unit 2. The project, as you know from our first instructional video this week, is due next Friday, December 15th at 3 p.m. That is a hard deadline because you have 2 weeks to complete the project. If you have any questions and you want to go through the project with me over the next few weeks, want to pop into a Google Meet, just let me know. Otherwise, have a great week and we'll see you online.